So to start off, so this CI runs every time when I create a pull request and merge to master. So I got a branch all ready to go with some changes that I've renamed the job in the CI, and I've done some styling changes, and I've also created a new page. So that's ready to go. So what I'm going to do is create the pull request, and when I log in, you can see recently pushed branches. And then so this is what I do every time when I'm ready to merge something to master. I always create a pull request. So I don't I never really never work on the master branch. I always make a feature branch because it makes sure that I don't break anything in the live site. So a heads up, this CI only works if the project you're using it on is in Bitbucket or GitHub. So I just created the PR, and now you can see there's a check. So that means the CI is actually starting to run. And I'll open it up. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. I'll open it up here so you can actually see it run. So this is it running CI now. So it's spinned up the environment, it's checked out the code. Now it's doing the npm install. So it's installing all the dependencies like Cypress and Percy and all the, and now it's running the last step, which is running Percy C. It's a script called Percy CI. So it's so what it's doing is it's building a server on localhost for the app, and then it's running the Percy snapshots, and it's also running all the Cypress tests as well.
Percy, isn't that visual snapshotting or visual testing? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll show you the config in a second, but this CI is running three things. So it's running so it's building a localhost server to host the app on to run the Cypress tests on, and it's also doing the Percy snapshots, and it's also recording it to put inside Cypress Dashboard. So it's just run now, and I'll show you since this integrates with GitHub. It tells you this tells you the this is for CircleCI telling you it's passed, and then this is for Cypress Dashboard, and this is for Percy. So this CI job, it runs Cypress Dashboard plus Percy in it, because that's what I set it up as. And since I've integrated Cypress Dashboard with this project, when the Cypress Dashboard has a bot which comments on my pull request telling the tests that are passed, failed, and these, I think that's skipped and warning tests that didn't run because from a market error. So this is telling me that the thing's passed, and then if you click on this link, it actually goes straight to the Cypress Dashboard reporter, and it tells you it tells you all the specs that are passed, and it also um, records the video as well inside it, and then yeah, and then it tells you if it runs on the CI, it will give you a link to the CI. It tells you the OS it ran on, and the browser, and the version of Cypress it's using, and then tells you the branch, and then it tells you also the latest commit it run on that branch. And if say if one of these tests failed, it would also record the screenshots as well where it failed. But since it's all passed, it only just shows you the video, and then it also gives you an output like this as well. So that's Cypress Dashboard. So it's like it's a reporter for Cypress. So I find it's pretty useful for, especially if you running in a CI, because then it gives you this instant report about your test passing or failing.
This seems like it's really useful in the workplace. Remember when you had that issue with that Dorian guy, what it was, that idiot, that D?
Yeah.
And he was always asking for dumbass reports. Would that have something like this? Would that have met all his needs or wants?
I think it would, because this is pretty straightforward to read. If a test pass or fail, and I guess if this is added into a main project like into GitHub, which is what most workplaces use as a code repository, the devs can easily access this bot if it's integrated with their project, which is what this portfolio website is, because that's how it can comment on these pull requests.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it's telling me that the last checks failed, which is Percy.
Yeah.
And it and then if you go in there, it would give you all the I haven't logged in, but it would
Is Percy that type of visual regression that you take a snapshot and then it compares that snapshot against what you set as what it's supposed to look like?
So what it does is it compares. So if you're working on branches, it compares the baseline image, which is master, and then compares it to your feature branches code.
Yep.
So it gives you. So if you take a snapshot on a specific page, it tells you what it looks like on master right now, and it tells you what it looks like on this branch. So then you can compare to see if there's any UI issues present with the feature, with the code you just got on that branch. And when it and then if something goes wrong, it would tell you, it will throw an error here saying it needs review, which you have to do manually.
Yeah.
Because I set it as with feature branches, it has to be manually, the screenshots have to be manually approved.
Yep.
But if it runs it against master, it would always auto approve, and it will always take that as the baseline image.
Yeah.
So as you can see here, this is the baseline. This is a new snapshot, so there's no snapshot there. And because this is the new page I just created. So they compare, that's master, and then this is the branch. And then if something changes, so this is master, and then this is the feature branch. And the reason why it's different is because I changed the background color of the. That's why, and so forth. I've added a new, and it's because I've done a lot of styling changes. So mostly all these snapshots are going to say something's changed. But and then all I have to do is just approve all, and then it would the CI would take it as the GitHub would, all the checks will be green. And that's basically what happens when it every time I do a pull request, it runs the CI straight away because I've set the settings in CircleCI to run every time I create a pull request, and then yeah, and it does these 3 checks. So one's the CI, and then it also does the Cypress Dashboard and Percy at the same time because I've because my script in CircleCI tells me to record the test and run the snapshots as well. So that covers the first part. Second part is the config file. So this is my config file. So so this config's written in YAML. What I found from knowing learning about CIs is most of them run. Usually, most of them have a YAML file. I think it's only Jenkins. It uses a shell. It's different. It uses shell scripting, but CircleCI, Bamboo, GitLab, they all use a config file syntax, and so you write you write the job in YAML. So I'll break down what this is. So I got the version. So I'm using CircleCI's 2.1 architecture. So that's what this version part is. And then what I got is I got one job, which is called Portfolio One, which is what I got up there. And for a job to run, it either needs a Docker image, an executor, or a machine. So what I'm using is I'm using a CircleCI Docker image, node Docker image. So I'm telling it to use the latest node Docker image for CircleCI, and then I put dash browsers in because without that, the Cypress tests won't run because it needs the browsers. And then the next part is I put Powerism of 4. So this is telling the CI to run on 4 Docker containers, which I've done that to increase the speed of the CI to run. And then once you got that, then you got the steps of what the job does. So the first step is it's checking out the code from GitHub. Then it's what it's doing. It's for Percy to run it. It needs an API token. So it shows the screenshots in the right place. So I'm running this dash run echo Percy token, which is a key, but I've set in the project settings of CircleCI. So you will never see the value of the key in the code because I put it inside the project settings, which I'm the only one that's got access to. And for Cypress dashboards, for that to run, you have to have a Cypress record key, which I've also put in the environment setting in CircleCI. And then the next step is it's doing an npm install. So it's installing all the dependencies for the project. So we'll install like Cypress, we'll install Percy, we'll install all the packages that I specifically got in my package JSON file. And then the next step is it's running a script called npm run CircleCI, which it gets that from the package JSON file, which is this one here. So to break down what this this script does, so what it's doing is I'm using there's a package I got which is called start server and test. So this package, what it does is it spins up a local host on a specific port, so I can run all the Cypress tests on localhost. So I don't need to like set up a dev environment. I can just tell it to spin up localhost, and then it would always run the code that's on that branch. So it's using that package start server and test, and I'm telling it to run on this port, this URL, and then after that, it's going to run another script called CircleCI -run, and what this does is this script here. So it runs Percy execute -- Cypress run, which is the command to use, is what you have to use to run the Cypress with while doing the Percy snapshots testing. And then after that, it also does a -- record. So that tells it to I want to record the test and put it on to record the results to Cypress Dashboard. Then the script does a -- parallel, which what that means is, since I set the parallelism to 4, it's telling Cypress to split up the test into the 4 containers. So it's not like one machine is running all the tests. It's split up. It's splitting the test up into 4 machines, which increases the speed it runs. So you're not waiting a long time for the CI to pass. And then the test is set in a group. And then I got -- group called CI Percy, which is what I'm using to group the tests up when you see it in Cypress Dashboard. So since I used the -- group flag called CI and named it CI Percy, this is how it's like grouping the test in Cypress Dashboard. And then, okay, so then the next step is I got another package called a JUnit reporter, which is specific for Mocha. And what that does is, when you look at the CI build, so if I go to here, that it gives you a test summary, and it tells you like your job ran 20 tests in unknown because since I'm running on localhost, I don't have a specific environment I'm running on, and it actually tells you what the slowest test is. So that's what that specific JUnit report does. It just tells you how many jobs have run and how many fails, and tells you what the slowest test is.
Can I ask a dumb question?
Yeah.
I may be wrong, but I thought in Cypress it also allows you to do unit tests. Can you run as as opposed to using another package like JUnit or something? Do you know if that's true or not?
I don't know the specific to that question.
Because it's the framework's based on Mocha, and if I'm a bit tired, but from memory, I thought they were using Jest, kind of like a Jest setup, a Mocha and Mocha Chai assertions, Mocha framework, and they were kind of using kind of a Jest type plugin for doing unit tests in Cypress. Do you know much about that?
No.
Never mind. I was just thinking it looked like if that's the case, would I need to run JUnit? Why not just run other packages within Cypress? Would that work? Do you know?
Well, I specifically put this in before I knew about Cypress dashboards, but since I got Cypress dashboards now, it's probably now not really a necessary package I need anymore. I just haven't taken it out yet because it doesn't really do much. Yeah, the dashboard, the Cypress dashboard gives a better report, and so that's the script. Yeah, and then the last part of the steps is the store test results, and that that step is part of showing the JUnit reporting in the test summary. And then for the last part, which is the store artifacts, and then so what I'm doing here is telling the CI to store the artifacts of the Cypress videos and the screenshots inside the build. So when I go to artifacts, it tells you you can actually grab all the videos, and it tells you all, and so it shows you all the containers, and it shows you all the video files, so you can just instantly also just play the videos off the CI as well. So that's what this is what these store artifacts do. So this tells you like all the containers, and then so you can actually see which tests are running on which container, and and that's showing all the videos. If any tests fail, you would actually see the screenshots in here as well. But how I set up Cypress, it only takes a screenshot on a failed test. But if there was a chance, if a test did fail, then it would also put the screenshot in there as well. Yeah. So yes, and the last part is the workflow. No. So that just uses the same version I have on top, because you can have a workflow, but it can have multiple jobs in there. So I'm just showing a good example. So my CI is set up as it's got one workflow called Portfolio CI, and then inside that workflow, there's one job called Portfolio Run, and the Portfolio Run job does everything I just showed you here. So that's really the that's the total run through of how my CI works.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Have you guys got any questions around that?
I do.
Good.
Why would you want to use another step in your workflow?
What specific step?
There's jobs. So you've got one job in there.
Yeah.
Is there any reason you'd want to use more than one?
I guess that depends on the company, I guess, using it. Like, since this is just a portfolio, I only just need one job. But there might be some other organizations that want multiple jobs, like, say they want one job that just runs all their automation tests, and they might want another job to do something like actually deploy their code to production, for example. So, but yeah, so I guess that's the example for one job, because I've seen what Qantas has done with Jenkins, like, because they got multiple jobs. Like, they got just like one job to run a CI from automation test, and they got another one to actually deploy to their environments, to like production and stage, for example. So that's why you might have multiple jobs. But for my deployments, I've already got Heroku to set up to deploy every time when a new commit goes to master. So for my case, I just wanted a CI to just run my all my Cypress automation tests and snapshot testing, so I don't have to run it manually.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So
How long did it take you to pick this all up, David?
it taken me a week to set this all up. I guess because it was quite frustrating at first, because trying to learn YAML, because YAML, you find it if you first work with YAML's becomes very fussy with the syntax layer. So, for example, so if you got something like dash image and dash checkout, everything has to be aligned. So if there's one misalignment, your build's going to fail. So and I think when I did my first branch to like set all this up, it's taken me, I had to run the CI about 50 times just to make sure things are working, because I've had so many build fails when I first were working on it. But to get it to where it is now, it's taken me about a week to a week and a half to get it to run the way I wanted to, and trying to get the answer of to get it to work. Been contacting the CircleCI support if there was some code issues, and a lot of it was just looking up things as well. So looking at other examples of YAML files, and and then if I knew specifically what I wanted, I just look it up on Google, and then Google gave me the exact code, and then I just tweaked it to the way I wanted it to run. So there's probably there's another part to CircleCI. There's a feature called orbs, which is reusable code that other people use. So it's kind of like it's like npm packages in a way. It's like a script that someone made, and created in an orb that can be reused. So you can use it for your builds, which gives you less code. But the reason why I didn't use that is because I wanted my CI to run a local host, because the Cypress orb didn't let me do that because the reuse code I couldn't change. So that's why I'm using a Docker image and then using my own writing my own script. But if you're setting CI up for the first time, you can use orbs that Cypress has already made. So there's not much code you need to use. But there's a lot of videos on orbs you can just look up. So I'm not going to go deep into that, but that's another way you can do it.
I think I'd want to do it from scratch first. I think you'd get more out of it the first time, at least once you understand it.
Yeah. If I guess you would use something like a Cypress orb if you got like the test, like you got all your automation tests, but your URLs pointing to like a public server. So if you just want to run all your tests on your production environment, I could just easily use this use the Cypress orb, but I wanted to always run on the latest code. I had to spin a server up, which the Cypress orb didn't let me do. So that's the reason why I'm not using the orb. But they have orbs for CircleCI for a bunch of things. They got one for Docker, they got one for Cypress, and they got them for a bunch of things you can do because CI is you can do anything on a CI. It's not just running automation tests, but you can ask it to deploy and do a bunch of other things as well. So
Cool.
it's a specific feature that CircleCI, but I found that CircleCI has that the other CIs don't.
Awesome. You guys got any more questions? Oh, there might be a question from Jono because he hasn't got a microphone. Oh, no, that's not him. No. You guys got any more questions? Just go yay or nay. No questions from Jono.
No,
Nay.
but it's very similar to what I was doing, I'll say, with Jenkins and whatnot. So
Was wondering what those little green blocks meant on the was it the Cypress dashboard?
The blocks. You mean these?
Yeah.
These are all the test files. So
Oh, so that's the length, like the relative length of each test.
yeah, so I got like a online I guess I'll show you on GitHub, but on my code, but this is like all the Cypress test, like spec test files. And so when I go into Cypress and then integration, so if I was looking at something like footer.js, these are all my automation tests for the footer. But they're pretty basic tests. It's just a functionality test to just make sure I click that the link Corner's loyalty on the footer. When I click on it, it goes to the page and the URL equals dash this at the end, and then it's expecting that the H1 element of contains Corner's loyalty and just make sure it's visible.
Yeah, like a smoke test.
Yeah, so they're just, most of my tests are just smoke functionality smoke test because it's just because it's not communicating with any APIs. It's just front end stuff. So I set up this CI to just run all the smoke tests. So from doing this, about 95 to 98% of all the checks I need to do on my portfolio are done by automation.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. And then since I'm using Percy as a snapshot tool, that's helping me to make sure that I'm not breaking anything on a page, like nothing's getting missed, like if incorrect text or something spaced out incorrectly or things. So it just saves me a lot of time than trying to check it manually because I've got so many so many pages, HTML pages set up.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Are we finished?
Yeah, that's mostly it. And then if I'll merge this to master, and then when I merge master, it would actually build again the CI will build again on the master branch. So yeah, so when I squash and merge the master, it would run this CI again, and would also deploy that branch code, redeploy master to my live, redeploy the master branch for my live site using Heroku. So as you can see, it's running the CI on master now. So this is basically what you can do when you when everything just integrates with GitHub now. It does so many things.
It's pretty cool, David.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I would say, yeah, it's pretty useful if people know basic Git commands because when you work in a workplace, no one ever does code changes on master. They always have to do code changes on a feature branch with a branch based off master. And yeah, and if you know basic Git, and it's kind of critical to learn basic Git commands because you need to know enough so you can push your branch to GitHub. But yeah. So yeah, that's basically it.
Awesome. I've recorded all that. I actually stopped. Have you finished? Because I'm just going to stop recording now so we can upload it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I covered everything, so you can stop it.